Well, hello everyone. I'm back. Well, sort of. Yeah, it's been quite a while. I think maybe almost a couple of years since I've actually put up a video on YouTube, and I thought maybe it was time I started doing a few more on maybe a semi-regular basis, just depending on how things go. Long story short, had to move my business to home, so the home workshop had to be all packed away and moved into a storage location, and so my TV tinkering space kind of disappeared. But I have kind of got a space back now up in the house, in the actual house itself, and have a lot more space to work on TVs and have them in a more drier, better place rather than a damp garage where most of them are still languishing. But yeah, so anyhow, onto the set you're looking at. What you're looking at here is a New Zealand-made Sanyo Model 560 VRC. These, I think, came out around a similar time to the Philips K9. They could have even been slightly earlier. Yeah, so I think it's about a 20, probably 20, 21, 22-inch picture tube. Not quite sure if this set was based on a Japanese design or an Australian design. I don't really know. We don't really know. But yeah, there are not many of these sets left in the wild. I've had this in my possession. Oh, I would have probably got this probably back in the late 1990s. That's how long I've had it. It came into the place where I was working, and the old lady just wanted to get rid of it. I'm like, oh, that's one of those old Sanyos. Haven't seen one of those for years. I thought, right, I'm going to grab that. And yeah, I've had it in my possession ever since. It's kind of been moved 2 or 3 times, and a few little marks and bit of a water stain on the speaker grill there. But it's actually quite a nice looking set, I think. Might have to apologise for the video quality or the lighting situation. I've got a couple of blinds pulled here, and you can see my sort of silhouette on the screen in the background, and if I wave, you can see my hand, the reflection there. So, but no, it is good to be able to sort of access the TV hobby again to a small degree. It's just getting motivated sometimes to do things, and also busy with other bits and pieces as well, life and all that sort of things. So I'm just gonna sort of picking away at things slowly as I go. But yeah, I thought it was time to sort of feature a set you haven't seen before on my channel, and this is one of them. And for once, it's not black and white, it's an actual color one. Makes a nice change. So yeah, as you can see, it's a floor standing console. It's not too bad a nick, but yeah, it's pretty nice condition all around. Just sort of move a bit closer to the front panel. You can see all the controls here. So you've got your channel change. You've got tone, on-off volume, AFT, and you've got color and tint as well. And on the side, you've got your controls for, I think I count vertical hold brightness, contrast, and horizontal hold. Yeah, I'm guessing this is early 70s at a guess. So yeah, it would be nice to know if there is if there was or is a Japanese equivalent to this, or even a UK, British version of this as well. But they came out in various sizes. There was a 26-inch model with folding doors. And there was also a model, I think, on legs. I think there's only a 22 or a 26. I don't think there are any other tube sizes that this model came out in. Yeah, so all very interesting. And as I said, there's not many of these left now, so these are quite rare. All right, what I'll do now is I will show you the service manual for it and give you a quick walk through that, and then we'll spin it around, show you the best bits of the engines, and then I'll show you it going. Just a side note here, you all might recognize the mighty Tellurad. This is one of the first sets I brought inside, and unfortunately, it developed a fault in the EHT flyback section. Hadn't been running for several years, and I brought it up inside. Left it with the dehumidifier running inside it for at least a good week. Drew all the moisture out of it, and then brought it up slowly on the VRAC. And I was using it on and off for a couple of weeks, and then just the other night, I was using it, and the picture went to a very, very small image horizontally and faded out. So I'm not sure if the Lopti has failed or something in the EHT, or even the horizontal oscillator, or something's gone wrong. Interesting. I'm still getting a wee bit of EHT from the alter cap, but it's very, very low. So not quite sure what's happened. And it's going to be a bit of a bastard actually to try and sort out. But oh well, we'll just cross the bridge when we come to it. So that's the update on that set anyway. But I'm glad it's inside and it's not out there in the damp. No, it was actually going really well up until the fault with the high voltage section. So we'll just deal with that later on anyway. Right. Oh, another Philips S8 chassis on an original stand. That one will probably be a set I will feature at some point. This is mostly original. I did work on it about 20 years ago and hasn't been run since. So yeah, that could be something for an upcoming video anyway for the channel. But I'll have to, let's just move this away from, I was having some issues with light up here because of sun sort of beaming in at me. So, but this is the service manual for it anyway. And he says it's manufactured under license from Sanyo Electric Training Company by Autocrat Radio, Auckland. So obviously they whether it was a Japanese, whether it was originally a Japanese chassis and be modified for PAL, honestly don't know. But I should have actually brought in. I've got a rather tatty manual, service manual. Should have brought that one. This one's quite tidy. As you can see on the front, that one's showing a slightly different cabinet. That one, that looks like that actually might have doors on it. I don't know whether it's got doors, but oh no, it's hard. No, because the control panel's more. Yes, that's just. Yeah, that's slightly different. So actually, that looks more of a Japanese. So this is based on a Japanese set. Looking at that, but yeah, I'm still yet to find or see anything remotely resembling anything like what I've got here. JDM version, but anyhow, moving on. Manual is actually quite comprehensive. It goes through and explains all how each stage works, and so you can read up on how it all functions. Here's a service notes and how to pull the chassis out and hinge it down and so forth. Well, you'll get to see all that eventually anyway. But yeah, no, quite a comprehensive manual. Certainly covers everything, all your service installation and service adjustments and all that sort of thing. Let's just do it, setting up your grayscale color killer, color purity, all your RGB drives, yoke adjustment nuts, and all that. This video, by the way, isn't pre-rehearsed. I'm just doing this on the fly, as most of my videos are. So I apologise for any sort of crappy or slightly amateurish bloomin' content. And I'll tell you one thing: this set is not light. It had to be carried up these stairs, and yeah, it was a two-person job. It was yeah, not light. It's quite heavy. Neither than that Telerad was of a similar. In fact, the Telerad set's heavier than this. There's all your general alignment instructions. set up your chrominance response and bandpass alignment and all that sort of thing. I said this is probably boring hell at everybody, but I'll just sort of just briefly show the manual anyway. More alignment instructions. The good thing about this model, it hasn't got very many ICs. Well, it has, but the bulk of it's all discrete componentry. You can see there you've got a TA7074 for the first video IF. You've got a TA7070 for the AFT, and there is another one too. Where's the other IC? Oh, is there only two, is there? Oh no, you've also got an HA1125 for the IF sound. That's the only chips in them. I know I think some of the later Sanyos had chips in the chroma and video circuitry, and yeah, as a good friend of mine had been noticing those chips were starting to fail quite regularly. Yeah, of course, now that these sets are much older, age is catching up to them, so it's definitely going to be a high chance of those chips failing even more as the set gets older. But I've been using this one a fair bit actually, and it's actually been running pretty well. And it gives it out. As you'll see, it gives an out. It gives a really nice picture. These sets also feature the preheated filaments. So when the set's turned off, there's a trickle voltage off the mains. I think of about 3 or 4 volts from memory, or maybe less, but it just keeps the cathodes warm. And basically, so it's that instant on feature. So yeah, let's just go to the. This is all just. Hang on, sorry about this. Just sort of trying to wrestle the manual and the camera as well. That's the circuit for the tuner, and this is the. Oh yeah, there's your 3 ICs there. And all your transistor pinouts and all that sort of thing. Right, there's the circuit diagram here in all its glory. Have to try and not make sure that the book doesn't slide off the side of the set and take the bloody paperwork with it. So yeah, as you can see, it's apart from those ICs, it's all mostly discrete, which in some ways is quite nice. It means there's no weird ass exotic proprietary chip that's gonna be, some unobtainium part, like some of those early Sony Trinitrons with their weird sort of some of the weird transistors and other some silicon devices that they run, some of the weird power supplies and things. So, but yeah. That's pretty much the circuit. I'm probably not going to go through and explain everything. I mean, it's all pretty much self-explanatory anyway. So, yeah. But yeah, so there you have it. That's pretty much the circuit diagram and everything. So there's the power supplies in switch mode, which is good. Nothing to go bang. It's basically just a standard mains transformer with brake rectification and regulated supplies using transistors. As I said, nothing fancy to crap out. And what's on the back? A whole lot of nothing. Right, okay. I'm just going to pause the camera and I'll spin it around and give you guys a look on the inside. Okay, well, I've spun the thing around. You'll have to excuse the light. I've got a window right there and the sun's beaming right in, and I was trying to, when I was trying to do a little sort of what's the word, sort of a visual camera lighting check for the first half of the video, it was kind of blowing everything out and making things hard to see, or kind of causing a lot of reflection. So, but I thought, since we're going to be inside the back of it, I thought, well, probably the more light, the better. So anyhow, this is the back cover. You can see model 560 VRF, manufactured Warcraft Radio Limited, and they've even got a nice little power plug transit hole, so the plug doesn't get munched when you're shifting it. Right, so the bit everyone's waiting for, the inside. Right, so this is where you can really get into the meat of this thing. Meat. Yeah, so now, just trying to get my brain into order here, because as I've said to you, as I mentioned, this video is on the fly. It's not actually pre-rehearsed. And I've just realised I actually need a screwdriver to pull the chassis out. I don't think I've got one up here. Actually, I have got a screwdriver. Anyhow, I did go through and replace all the electrolytic capacitors on it about 15 odd years ago. These have those Sanyo caps, the white ones, and of course, as we all know, those caps are all past their use by date. So I went through and changed a number of them. These little blue caps, I think they're called the RS. They're new old stock ones I've had for years, and they're fine. I mean, for something like this, it doesn't. I'm not going to use brand new caps for something like this. It's it's only an old TV. It's not an amplifier or some precision bit of audio equipment. It's just an old telly, really, when in the scheme of things. So it's the tube, as you can see. That's the convergence board there. You've got the tuner up in there. The tuner's tuner's up there. All solid state, of course, as mentioned previously. I'm probably repeating myself, so I do apologise for that. I will talk about that tuner actually, because the set, when I first fired the set up, after a few years, it didn't have a picture. And right, now there is more stuff in behind here. Just excuse me while I get. I'm going to have to take these screws out down here. Yeah, they're done up quite tightly, because this whole chassis comes forward, and this piece here also hinges down, as you'll see. Wait 1 second while I try and do this with one hand. Oh, no, that's not. Oh, that was loosening off. I'm using the wrong screwdriver. I'm well aware of that. Let's see if I can get that one loose and be able to bring it forward. There we go. There we go. Let's make things a bit easier. Trust me to only have not have the correct screwdriver on hand. I should have thought about this, but hey, mind you, that screw looks like it's been. Looks like that screw's had a bit of it's been got at in the past, I think, looking at that. So, right, sorry about this, guys. Now I should be able to pull. Oh, there we go. So this whole thing hinges down. Don't really want to disturb anything too much. So for access purposes, the whole thing hinges down. And there's another board there that looks to be, it's probably a horizontal oscillator. And there's some more. It's probably all that'll be all deflection, I'm guessing. Deflection and high voltage and so forth. There's a lock there down there, and I'm guessing that's the tripler, and that looks like the focus unit. Luckily, I have got a spare. I wrecked one of these years ago, and I've got some spares for this. So yeah, being as rare as they are. So yeah, they certainly thought about the poor technician when they designed this. Now this whole thing actually comes forward. Oh, the earth came out. It's all right. This whole thing actually comes back like this. So you can actually, there are other boards over here too. So that's your power supply down there. That's the power supply board. That's your video drive board for the or gun your RGB board for all your gun or your video drives to your separate guns. The red and blue guns. I remember years ago repairing a set for a customer, and the colour said that the colour was all up the hoot, and it just wasn't working properly. The colours are wrong, and then all these caps are all dried out. And that's your main reservoir filter cap there. Some big dropping resistors as well, and in the back. And of course there's the speaker down there, and lots of 1970s dust, which I will not disturb because it'll all probably already set off, already blocked sinuses today. Probably set off another sneezing fit, which I don't really want. But yeah, so there's a bit of a look on the inside, and there's the print side of the board as well. I think that's probably horizontal. It'll be a horizontal 2, 6, 3, 5 these. That's probably your vertical output transistors. And that could be the horizontal output transistor. Possibly, not quite sure. I think it did sort of explain it on the service manual. But yeah, good to see there are the original Sanyo types, as well as these down here. I'm guessing these are probably the regulator transistors for the power supply, considering where they are quite close to that board. And down there is the power transformer. So yeah, it's as I said, nice and easy to work on, unlike some TVs. And some of these boards too, they unplug. The sub-brightness board, this board unplugs. You unplug all these boards. So everything unplugs. You can actually get at most things. This board here, I know this board here was a bit of a bitch to work on, replacing all those caps. So, but you know, when I first powered it on, I was greeted with a rather washed out picture. Well, put it this way, I was greeted with no raster. Just nothing at all, no snow, so just a blank raster. So I fed in a RF signal, and I was getting a very, very weak test pattern with very little sound. And I was sort of thinking that maybe it was something to do with the IF chip, or something to do obviously with the IF RF sort of front end of the set. And ended up being a I chucked the scope on the IF out from the tuner, and not much was happening there. So I thought, okay, obviously the fault must be in the tuner, because there's no, and even adjusting the AGC pot, which is down there, wasn't doing bugger all, or very little anyway. And it ended up being, and it was a bit of a bugger to get it. It was a bit of a bugger to get at too, actually. It was quite a pain. Ended up being a faulty transistor in the tuner. It was the sorry about that. It was the The mixer transistor was open circuit base emitter. So luckily I had another RF transistor on hand of similar specs, put it in, and all of it. And so had to take that whole front panel out, pull the tuner to pieces. It wasn't easy to get, but luckily that transistor was sitting relatively easy as access. But I had to sort of move a couple of things and turn the turret to where there were no biscuits in there, no tuner biscuits or slides or boards, so I could get at the thing. But yeah, that's what it was. That mixer transistor, and yeah, put a new one in and was greeted with snow, and all of a sudden I had a picture again, so I was quite pleased about that. I was these two other ones here were sort of buried inside cans. I'm thinking, oh God, I hope it's not one of those. So I got lucky with that one there being the one that was actually faulty, so I was, yeah, very lucky in that respect. But yes, that's pretty much the overview of the insides. I'm hoping it'll still work when I put it all back together. I'm actually going to do a trial run of it first before I show it going, so we don't have any fails. But I know I've had this chassis out quite a few times, so yeah, it should be all good. Oh, well, I hope you enjoyed looking inside the thing, and yeah, I will now pause the video and show it to you going. Right, after a bit of fluffing around and making sure I hadn't actually completely busted the set while putting everything back together, here it is. So pretty much instant on, as you can see. Of course, the picture's always better in person than it is when the set's been looked. But as you can see, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that tube at all. It's really, really good. Excellent tube. Had a couple of friends here recently, and one of them actually mentioned, he said, God, he said, the picture on that thing is fantastic, and he says it's really nostalgic for me because I haven't sat and watched an old console TV for years. So I think he was quite chuffed by that. Actually experienced, watched a few videos on it, had a couple of laughs as well. Some of the video content was quite hilarious, so quite fitting. But yeah, these bloody controls are shitty. I've never been able to get them noise free. But yeah, so it's pretty much the set in operation. It runs really well, and I intend to keep it going for as long as possible. It's yeah, not a bad old TV really for a set that's probably over 50 years old. So yeah, and I'm actually running off a pair of crappy rabbit ears, and you're probably wondering, well, how am I doing that? Well, I'll show you in this. I'll show you what I actually use for transmitting my signal around the room up here. So this Dynamod 2 audio video television modulator is what I use. I've got that DVD player running into it in the back, and yeah, basically it's transmitting off this single rod antenna. This came out of a TV station. I think it was used for monitoring what was coming from the studio into the transmits into the. I think these were just used for monitoring the picture and sound coming from various feeds. But no, very, very handy, this thing. It's bloody great. It saves me having to have a video and a DVD player over the other side of the room. I can just just basically plug in a set of rabbit ears and off we go. And of course, if I'm watching any DVDs through the K9, just pretty much just has to have the RF cord hanging out in the back, and because the signal's strong enough. So yeah, it actually works. That actually works really well. So there you have it. That's a bit of a look at the Sanyo 670 VRC 1970s 22-inch vintage colour TV. And yeah, hope it keeps going for many years. Well, but that's why I intend to keep it going for as long as I possibly can. And yeah, I don't think there's any chance of this tube failing at all. It's certainly got plenty of life left in it. So yeah, oh well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I've just realised I've rambled on for 30 minutes. That's certainly long enough. And yeah, thanks for watching. And if you like this video, click the like button. And if you want to subscribe for more, please feel free to do so. And hopefully I might be able to bring you some content, more content going forward. And just before we go, here's a teaser of the next potential video coming up, but more about that later. Okay, guys, thanks for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.